Hi, everyone. I'm here with Annie Green, and Annie has an amazing story. So, Annie, first, let's tell our viewers, where are you from?
Originally, I am from New Jersey. That is where I grew up. However, I was born in upstate Pennsylvania, where a lot of the Amish live. So that's my starting point. But I consider myself a Jersey girl for real.
Awesome. So when you chose to live abroad, like what countries were you considering, and how did you go about trying to research which countries to go to?
Okay, so originally it was simply based on wherever I got accepted to medical school.
Mhm.
That was the sole reason that I was even looking out of the country or in the Caribbean.
Mhm.
And I did get accepted to Ross through their MERP program.
Mhm.
And I did get accepted to a couple other medical schools in the Caribbean. But when Poland opened up as far as a European education, I thought that that would be a little bit more beneficial to me because I did want to intermingle with a lot of people from all over the world, and I thought Europe would be a good place for me to go. And that is how I actually ended up in Poland and going to the Medical University of Lublin.
So that's a big jump. How did you decide that when you wanted to figure out medical schools to even consider, what made you say, I want to go to medical school out of the country?
Well, thing about going to, well, okay, when I was studying for the MCAT, which is what allows you to even be qualified for US med schools, very competitive in the US. I was actually studying at Georgetown. I would go to Georgetown every day, study, get ready for my MCAT, and I actually needed a particular score to get into their it's like a pre-medical school program.
Mhm.
But the tuition was $50,000 a year. And it might even have been a semester, but I'm going to say a year. And I could have gone because I did get the score that I needed in order to be in that program. But that money, whoo, I was like, no. And Europe is a lot cheaper. You're going from 50 to 12.
Mhm.
That's
Mm.
a big
Wow.
savings. That is
Yeah.
a huge savings when you think about how you have to come out and pay those loans back. And a lot of medical students, they end up with over $300,000 worth of debt. And, they have to practice medicine. If they change their mind, they decide they don't want to do it no more. Them loans, you're going to stay in medicine for a while. So being able to save that amount of money and still live well, Poland was just hands down the absolute right decision.
And you make a good point, because I think a lot of times we think about education in regards to US education, it is
Right.
massive. And I think what people don't consider is that once you get your degree, you have an exorbitant amount of almost another mortgage payment
Yes.
equivalent to in just student loans, and how it's so difficult to live like that.
Yeah. It's very difficult. I mean, I know for me, the thought of that debt was I almost changed my mind. I almost was like, I don't know. I went and talked to my counselor when I was going to the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. And I went and talked to her. I said, I want to go to medical school, but I'm really, really, really concerned about the student loan debt. And she looked at me and she was like, you're going to be a doctor. Don't worry about
Hmm. Hmm.
it. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay, okay. But again,
Hmm.
if I
Hmm.
if I change my mind halfway through, there is no changing your mind, because once you get that money and you get them loans and it's spent, you're gonna have to pay that back. You know. So yeah, it was a major decision for me.
Absolutely.
It was a major decision.
So Poland's a massive leap. Have you ever, at that time, had you ever been to Europe before?
Um, I had been through Europe, but I had never stayed. Just traveling. 'Cause I used to work for the airline, so of
Hmm.
course I would take planes everywhere. When you're working for the airline, because you fly for free. So I would
Hmm.
just go to Tobago, Barbados, London. So I traveled a lot. but mostly it was going through Europe to get to someplace else. Because I was going to one year I took a trip and I went to Malta, which is off the coast of Italy, and I took a vacation there. So that's why I say I've been through Europe, but I never stayed.
Right. So what did you have to do to prepare? I mean, obviously you could get a student visa in Poland, correct? So how did you work that out to be able to stay there for an extended period of time?
Okay, so once I decided to take the seat at the University of Lublin, they sent you a packet, and that packet contained every step-by-step instruction to get your visa, what you had to provide, bank statements to prove that you could live there, or a printout of your financial aid, because the good thing about the school in Poland is they take U.S. financial aid. And a lot of people aren't aware that if you yes, honey.
No, I had no idea.
And here's the kicker. Now, here's the kicker about the Medical University of Lublin and a lot of schools in Europe. I didn't have to get an undergraduate degree to be a physician. I could have gone right from high school to a European program and been a doctor in 6 years.
What?
Now, just think about that. Think about that.
Huh.
And come back to the U.S. and practice.
Wow.
I'd have saved myself over $60,000 because my undergraduate degree, I have a bachelor's of science in biology, which took me 5 years to get. I started back in school at 44. So I could have saved myself 5 years and 5 years worth of tuition.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And so that's why I'm such a promoter of go to school outside of the States. Go see what's out there. Do your research. And I'm trying to get more people in the African American community to really think globally and not be afraid to travel, not be afraid to say, hey, I don't have to go to school in the U.S. And if I want to come back to the U.S. and practice, I can. Because we still all have to take the step. We all take the step 1, step 2, step 3 to be a physician. But imagine shaving 5 or 4 years off of your education.
That puts things into perspective. So how do you feel like this experience has changed your perspective?
It has totally changed my perspective from the standpoint of now I already felt like I had a calling in terms of helping people get out of poverty. That's what drives me personally, and that's what drives me now for my community. But now it's all about information and access. I know that we don't get the information, and I already know we don't have access the way we should. And so now what I'm promoting is information and access. Stop thinking so small, because that will really limit your opportunities. It'll limit your pocketbook, And so my thing is to go back now and give people information and provide them with access and say, hey, let's go outside of the U.S. I love the U.S. I'm a veteran. I served in the United States Marine Corps. I love America.
Thank you for your service.
You are welcome.
Most exciting thing, because you have a lot of things about you that are really exciting. But when you told me that you bought an ambulance and gutted it out and live there now, the first thing was like, how do you go and buy an ambulance? Like, please tell the viewers more about that.
Okay, so as a medical student in Poland, and as I'm a mom. I've raised 2 children, and I've been married. I sent my ex-husband to undergrad and law school. My ex is now a lawyer, so I know what it's like to raise a family and be able to maneuver in the U.S. economy, culture, whatever you want to call it. I've owned several homes. And when I finally got to go out of the country to Poland, my lifestyle did not decrease, it actually increased. I had, my apartment was like $300. I had a maid, I had my groceries delivered, my gym was 24 hours, which was right behind my apartment, and my lifestyle was really, really good. So knowing that, and then coming back to the US and selling off my real estate, I did not want to turn around and take that money and put it back into rent. So I started Googling alternative housing. And what I found was a lot of people live on boats. A lot of people live in their vehicles. A lot of people have built out vans. And the one gentleman that I came across, his name was Ron. He's a car guy. I mean, a real car guy. And he converted an ambulance. And the one thing that he made very clear was the most expensive thing that you're going to have to do in any vehicle build is the wiring. And he said the best vehicle, if you're going to do this, is an ambulance because it's commercial grade and the wiring is extensive and it's already in place. You just have to tap into it. And that was enough for me because I understood, dollars and cents. So it made sense for me. I said, okay, an ambulance. And I went to a company that has multiple locations. They're called VCI. And they have locations in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, Jersey, New York, and Delaware. And all you see at those locations are C and C's of ambulances. Now, they're all decommissioned, so you can pick them up anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. My particular ambulance was 12 because it had not been decommissioned yet. It was still in service. And I had to pay 12, but it only had 50,000 miles on it. And it's a diesel. It's the largest engine. It's a 7.4 engine. I want a 4-liter engine. And it's a Ford. I love it. It's a 1998 Horton. And it has all the bells, all the whistles. I had to get the title changed. So now it's considered a house car because it has plumbing.
Okay.
I have a refrigerator. I have a microwave. I have a TV. I have a toilet. I have anything that you would have in a house, I have inside my ambulance.
So did you find someone to do this for you, or did you do it all yourself?
Actually, the gentleman that sold me my vehicle, he asked, because I told him what I wanted to do, and he asked me, he said, well, would you allow me to try to build out your ambulance? And I said, oh, okay, no problem. So, and that came at a very big discount because he was just trying. And he did an amazing job. He really did a good job. Everything that I wanted, he was able to install. And then we decided we're going to go into business. So now we have a company called Advanturous. It's kind of a play on words. And we have built out another ambulance for a client. We have delivered a full-size school bus build to a client.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yes. Which they wanted a fireplace. They wanted a full-size fridge. I mean, there were things that they wanted that we were able to install and provide. And they're very happy. Everybody's been happy with our work. And so we're going to continue. And, it's interesting, since the pandemic, there's going to be a lot of changes coming as far as housing and what people can and cannot afford. And so I think we're in a good place right now to enter that market, because if you can have a home on wheels, and I'm not talking about something that's not quality. I am talking about a master suite. I am talking about a full shower bath. Anything that you can think of that you would put in a regular apartment or a regular home, we can install in a bus or van.
Okay. That sounds awesome. That is wonderful. So what advice would you give to those individuals, whether it be medical school or going to some other type of educational institution, or just wanting to live abroad in general? What advice would you give people?
The one thing that I've always tried to do is my due diligence. Do your research, you know, if you really, really want to do something, because I truly believe all things are possible. That's how I've lived my life. And I never put boundaries on myself. I just make sure I do my research. And once I'm at a place where I feel like I've researched, you know, culture, their medical system, anything that has to do with my physical health, dental, medical, derm, whatever. And if that's of the quality that I can expect, then I'm okay moving there. You know,
Okay.
I had no problem going to the dentist in Poland. And as a matter of fact, while in Poland, I got just a little sick. I had like I think a lung infection, and I went to the hospital and stayed overnight. And it cost me about, I want to say 300 zloty, which ended up being like $71 US for an overnight hospital stay plus the medication. And let me tell you, when she said like 300 zloty, I calculated that in my head real quick. I threw that money through the window and ran out. I was like, because I thought she didn't know what she was saying. I said, did she just say 300 zloty? Yes, I threw that money through the window and ran out, and because I thought they was gonna come get me. I said it was $71.
Well, that's a mouthful. So listen, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. This interview has been amazing. I'm sure you can give a lot of insight
Yeah.
to so many people. So thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, guys.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.